So we've got a good length of Malvern Hills rose here, climbing rose, and there's about 60 centimetres or so there from top to tail, and we're going to make that into 2 cuttings. What we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the flower head, which seems a bit of a shame. So we get rid of that, and we're going to cut back. If you've got a nice red or green stem, nice and fresh, which is still got the sap in it in June or July, a lot of books tell you to take these a lot of the books tell you to take these cuttings in August, but from the experience of those more knowledgeable than I around me, they tell me that June and July is a good time because the sap is rising. And what we're going to do now is to cut that into 2 20 centimetre lengths, take off all the leaves, and then that is basically all we're going to do to it, apart from put it into a pot containing ordinary garden soil, not potting compost because it dries out too quickly, but ordinary garden soil, and put it in a sheltered spot which is not too much in full sun, so as the soil doesn't dry out too quickly, and just keep an eye on it and make sure it's watered. And once the leaves start to reappear again, then you'll know that the roots are starting to form. Do the same with this one. Take off the leaves right back to the stems. That's what you don't get prickled. And shame we lost those, but the flowers have gone off that already, so don't worry too much about that. There we are. Now we have 2 cuttings to plant. Wherever they are. Can't see them on the bloody camera. Oh, there they are. Try these cameras upside down, inside out, very confusing. So we now pick the leaves off with our fingertips. Then we've got 2 stems ready to put into our pot of soil, and then give them a good watering and make sure you keep the soil moist at all times. Once the leaves start to show again on these little points here, then you'll know that the roots are starting to form. So I've now trimmed those down to about 20 centimetres, taken off the leaves and any flowers, etc, etc, and I've kept them all the same way up. So these are the bottoms here, so I'm going to put those in the pot. Whether it makes much odds or not, I don't know. Depends whether you're in Australia or in the UK, I guess. So we're now ready to plant those, and I'll show you a little bit later what happens. If something happens, hopefully it will. We've got 2 climbers there, a nice little velvety patio rose, and various 2 or 3 ramblers, so we'll see which one comes out best. We've now got our pot filled with our ordinary garden soil. We're just going to pop our cuttings in about 50 millimetres or 5 centimetres deep, just in about 2.5 centimetres or so from the edge of the pot. So we're going to go in about 50 mil. Put them in. This is the fun part, and then we just carry that on round. If you found this at all useful, please do give it the thumbs up, and please do subscribe, so then we can hopefully continue to help Acorns Childrens Hospice Worcester and Mind. Thank you very much. So hopefully, as you can see, this is in a terracotta pot, and it's also, I put a saucer underneath it just to retain the water, so if there is any overwatering, it'll either overflow the saucer, but whatever's left will then keep the pot and the cuttings moist. They're in a much more sheltered position here, out of the sun. They'll get the morning sun, but then after that they'll be fairly free of sun, so it just means that the soil doesn't dry out, but just keep them moist, and then we should have a good deal of success. Hurrah! Watch this space.